church puts out called Studio G. It's for women. It's from Gateway Church. And Gateway Church, let's see, where is it here? They have a women's ministry called Wild. Think about that. And it's the Wild ministry that produces this magazine. Now, there's something about this magazine cover that we're going to focus on here in just a second. Anyway, back to the scripture. He carried me away into the wilderness where the wild things are. Maurice Sendak wrote that book, and that was one of my favorite books in all the world until I found out that Maurice Sendak was he was a fella. Okay? Anyway, he carried me away into the spirit in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads. He later describes the 7 heads as being 7 mountains, and you go, see, it's the Vatican. It's the Vatican. Hang on a second. I get the Vatican thing. Okay, they're like the central repository of all things mystery-related. But let's go deeper than that. Let's not just stop at, okay, it's Rome. Got that all figured out. Let's go beyond that. What's behind Rome? Is there workings that are more evil and working behind the scenes at Rome? Yes, and the Bible will tell you what they are. You follow the scriptures. Take your can of King James, open to Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter what? Chapter 7. I'm going to show you this. Remember, the 4th kingdom of Daniel. It is not a kingdom of this planet. It's not a kingdom of this world. And remember, there's a war going on in heaven. Who are the angels fighting in heaven? They're fighting other angels. They're, in fact, a third of the angels, which is 33%. Which is why, if anybody downstairs is listening, go in my office and bring the hat up here, okay? And you should know the hat that I got in the mail. I'm going to show you this, okay? But anyway, the number 33 in Freemasonry is one of they're like big number. Why? Because, well, part of the reason is, number one, you have 33 bones in your backbone. That's the Kundalini, the 7 chakras. The number 33 happens to be a percentage, 33%. A third of the angels cast out. That's like, and if you look on any Masonic logo, you'll see this number 33 represented as stars. There's your clue, Sherlock. So the devil kicks out a third of the stars of heaven, and they're cast them down to the earth. So this is the spiritual entity here. They fall down from heaven. That's the age of Aquarius. They fall down from heaven. They rise up from the depths of the earth. That's Revelation chapter 9. And so there's this invasion, this force, this nation. God says, He says it's a nation of fierce countenance. Have you ever seen like gargoyles? Have you ever seen, even in China, in ancient places, in Africa, in Central and South America, where they carve these images of these quote-unquote gods? Did any of them ever look as cheerful as Mike Hoggard does? Was any of these gods ever going, hi, we want you to worship us. We're your friends? Have they all do that? No, they're always going like that. That's the nation of fierce countenance. God said they're a nation of fierce countenance. God said they're a nation whose language you won't understand. You know what that means? They speak in a secret language that nobody understands what they're saying. Think about that one, Sherlock Holmes. And then in Deuteronomy chapter 7, here's what we're gonna look at, verse 1, and I think I have my. Is it coming? Here it is, right here. Somebody sent me this, okay? And no way in the world am I going to put this on and it be on camera, because somebody, and I got a person in mind, will take that picture and they'll go, see, he's a Mason. We told you. We warned you. There he is with the hat. This is a Shriner hat. Somebody, and then that same person will probably go, how did he get that? You only get that if you're a Mason. A lady sent it to me. She sent it to me with a Masonic Bible. She said, I'm going to tell you what she said. She said, this was my dad's. My dad used to wear this. Now, I want you to think about, number one, I want you to think about the Sphinx. And what has he had coming out of his forehead? He's got a serpent. Oh, look, there's the fleur-de-lis. You see that? See that? Okay. And, oh, look, there's the pentagram and the crescent moon. And then I want you to notice here that on, let's see if I can point to it here. Okay. Right here, I counted this. I was looking at it and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Look at here. There's 11 stars here. There is 11 stars here. And oh, look, there's 11 more right here. What does that make? 30 tree. And I don't, now I'll be honest, I don't have a clue what Zamora means. I don't know what that means, okay? No, there's no way in the world I'm going to put this on, okay? 33, Deuteronomy chapter 7. Here's what, in the New Age and in the occult, they always talk about the 7 planetary bodies, like representing 7. By the way, what did they name all the planets after? Let's see, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, gods. That's what they named them after. 7 gods. Think about the 7 heads of the beast and what John was told in the book of Revelation. The 7 heads are 7 kings. So let's think about this. Turn to Deuteronomy chapter 7. You should be there already. Listen to this. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land, whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before... Think about it. God said he was going to cast out. Think about the land. The land. It's not just the nation of Israel between the Mediterranean Sea and the Dead Sea and the River Jordan. It actually goes all the way to the Euphrates River, by the way. It's not just that. Heaven is that land. That's the land. That's our eternal inheritance. That's what it's all about. That whole picture in all of the Old Testament is about heaven being the country that you and I will inherit. That's the one we're looking for. Yes, I would love for America to fall on her knees. Yes, I would love for America to repent. But the problem is, I don't know that America is going to do that. So I'm not going to put my hopes in Barack Hussein or Mitt Romney or Sarah Palin or anybody else that might run for president. I'm going to put my hope in Jesus Christ and that land that we have. And so think about this. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee. Think about Revelation 12. He's casting them out. And then he says the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And then he specifically says, just in case you thought, well, I think all that counting stuff in the Bible's stupid. I think Pastor Mike's just making that up. Just in case you think that, God in the very next 2 words counted them for you. 7 nations, and then look at how he described them. Greater and mightier than thou. Think about that. Greater and mightier than thou. He's not just talking about these little nations here. He's talking about those up there. And you read that, the nation of fierce countenance, the nation whose language that you don't understand. I can't remember. John D. got in touch with some of these spirits, and he learned what's called the Enochian language, and he said nobody knows it, nobody on earth knows it. It's the language of angels. Think about that. That's that 7 nations that God warned about represent those 7 kings, those 7 planetary things, the 7 rites of initiation. And it's represented by the letter G. Now, I said all that to say this. Here is a close-up of the front cover of their latest Studio G magazine. What do you see here? What's going on there? Okay? I see a symbol there. A symbol that looks, well, let me show you this here. A symbol that looks a lot like this one. But, Pastor Mike, don't you know that that's actually a symbol for the Trinity? Well, no, it's not really. It's a symbol for this. Because God said that we ought not think that the Godhood can be graven with art in man's device. So this is not the Trinity. This is the triquetra, the triple helix. We showed you this a while ago. This is what they're doing in that Masonic Royal Arch ritual. By the way, they have a little secret name for God too. Okay? And it's not Barack Hussein Obama. That's not what they're saying. They say Jah, Bull, On. Jah for Jehovah, Bull for, that's what it is. No, Bull for Baal, and On that's actually right out of the King James Bible. The priest of On, whose daughter Joseph married, is Osiris. So they have like a little secret name that's not the God that you and I worship. And so they're making their bodies into these little triquetras, and they call it 3 times 3 times 3. And it all has to do with changing mankind into a God. By the way, let me pull this back up again, okay? Because, and I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to be cleanly honest, okay? I would not have this magazine sitting around in my office, okay? Here it is, 3 good-looking women. And it evokes this idea of what the strange woman is all about. And I'm going to share that with you if I get time. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get through everything that I want to get through today. But I'm telling you that it's related. This is what's called, if you've ever seen Charmed, this is their symbol. This is called a book of shadows. Think about that. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And shadows have to do with darkness. It has to do with blocking the light, keeping the light from coming. You're in darkness is what it is. And this whole idea is about dark. Let me read. I had a section here from Marilyn Ferguson's The Aquarian Conspiracy. This is on page 168. This has everything to do with what happened in a Christian school in Michigan. Brainwaves reflect fluctuations of energy. Groups of neurons are experiencing enough electrical activity to show up on the EEG graph, electroencephalogram. In normal consciousness, small and rapid brain waves called beta. I've talked about this in the video we did called The Mystery of Contemplative Prayer. And if you want a copy of that DVD, just send us $19.95 plus $85,000 shipping and handling, or you can just call us and say, hey, can I have that for free, and we'll send it to you. All right? Anyway, rapid brainwave, called the beta rhythm, dominate the EEG pattern in most people. In other words, when you are, listen to me now, they'll use Bible terms, when you're sober, when you're awake, and you're thinking, you're listening to Pastor Mike online, and you're processing all of the things that I'm saying, and they're going through the right, or the left hemisphere of your brain, and you're just thinking of the logicalness of my inflawed logic. Your